I saw this while innocently browsing my feed. This is from the Myth-Informed people. It's like the Better Discourse event. They're right-leaning. Destiny's gone a few times. They wanted me to go, but COVID was happening. Y'all remember that? Yeah. We missed the boat on Logan Paul going full Kendi. I think this is like some anti-racist guy, I think. He states, you have to be anti-racist, and if you don't think white privilege exists, you're effing blind. He suggests America is incapable of treating humans equally, and influencers should reverse engineer the system. Damn! A lot of anger for somebody saying things that are objectively correct. Let's give it a listen. I don't even know if this is a recent clip, man. I gave this a listen. It's pretty based. Now, speaking to sincerity, I don't know if Logan Paul is just doing this to flow with the times or if he cares or whatever. I genuinely don't. It does seem like it's from last year, if I recall correctly. Okay, then it's from last year. That's fine. It still seems culturally relevant. One way or another, whether this is a product of genuine sincerity or not, it is nice having people in positions like his take active stances on this, you know? I'm sure he's still cringe in many ways, so try not to consider this an endorsement of him.
This, and I'm embarrassed that it's taken me 25 years to realize this.
Is he 25? Is he 2 years younger than me? No. Really? Is he 25? 26 now? 26 now, yeah. Younger than me? Ugh. All right.
It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Yes. Based.
Condemn those who feign superiority because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Friends, hold friends accountable. Hold your family accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And most importantly, we must hold our authorities accountable.
So here's the thing that I find really, really interesting. No, he's reading the script off the laptop. Again, we're not here to speak to his sincerity, okay? It's just the voice gets out. Now, I think this was back in 2020. But let's talk about the messaging, okay? Let's talk about what he's saying. Now, the thing that's surprising to me is that the statement that he just made should theoretically be unobjectionable to anyone who isn't a racist. But people who aren't, well, at least who don't consider themselves racist, still bristle at this statement, you know? Like, imagine if he had said that except pedophilia. It's not enough to not be a pedophile, you have to be anti-pedophilia. Would anyone disagree with that? Like, everyone would agree with it. If your leaders are pedophiles, you have to hold them accountable for that. No one would disagree with that. Well, I don't know, priests and Republicans. Yeah, I guess they voted for Roy Moore. Reasonable people wouldn't disagree with that, you know? Yeah, never mind. Maybe they would. But the point that I'm getting at here is that, like, if you think racism is bad, you should be anti-racist, right? Like, you can actually see the cogs turning in conservatives' brains when you have this conversation with them. Do you think racism is bad? And of course they'll say no. Unless you're talking to, like, a literal neo-Nazi, they'll say no. And then you can go, oh, then what's wrong with being anti-racist? And they will spin off into some insane shit. Oh, did I say yes? No, yes, not no. They'll say, wait, you all are confusing me. I'm turning off chat on my end, and I'm going to repeat that, okay? You can ask a Republican, do you like racism? And they'll say no, unless they're like very, 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 very far right. But then you can say, so we should be anti-racist. And they'll freak out. You all noticed this, right? Republicans, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, whatever, they'll all say when they get the chance racism is bad. But for some reason, they're opposed to anti-racism, like as a concept, which so you're against it, but you're also against being against it. Is, you know, yeah, they'll say it's like a reverse racism thing, but the fact that they bristle so openly at the term is insane. Same with fascism and anti-fascism. Hey, you think fascism's bad? Cool. I'm anti-fascist. And then they get really mad. Like, well, then what do you actually believe then? Come on.
Police officers, politicians, policymakers. As Killer Mike said, bully the politicians at the voting booth. Make your voice heard. Attend a protest.
Your voice.
Speak up against injustice. If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege. And for those who do not think white privilege exists, you are fucking blind.
I do wonder about the effectiveness of this message, because I feel like people who aren't already sold on this idea probably aren't going to be that convinced by the "you are fucking blind" approach, but you know.
You are delusional and you are part of the problem. I can count on 0 hands the amount of times that I have feared for my life at a routine traffic stop. That has never happened. Half of the reason I'm able to get away with some of my hooligan shit I do in my vlogs is because I'm a white kid.
I do like this point, by the way. I do like this. This is very, very true.
I'm confident that I do not have to fear for my life should the cops show up. Acknowledge and weaponize your privilege.
So, a lot of people really get annoyed by this. Acknowledge and weaponize your privilege. Like, well, what are you demanding something of me? It's like, do you really bristle that much at being told you should engage in a modicum of self-awareness? You know? Imagine Chad privilege, okay? Imagine there's a guy at your school, and he's the biggest Chad in the universe. Like, annoyingly so. He's 6'4", he's got a lantern jaw, and he's naturally muscular. Like, he doesn't even have to work out, but then he does anyway, and he looks huge, okay? Now, imagine if this guy was like, "Oh, dude, you're having trouble with the ladies? You just need to be yourself. Just walk up to them, you know? Just tell them you like them. They're really into that." And then, like, he'll go over to a girl, and, like, she'll just melt when he talks to her. Now, if you were faced with this interaction, would you not think in your head, wow, the advice that I was just given is somewhat tainted by the lack of self-awareness of the person who spoke to me? There is a bias in what I'm being told. They are failing to take into account differences in how they and I am treated. You know? Like, people complain about this online. You know the whole joke, how do you get laid? Step 1, be attractive. Step 2, don't be unattractive. That was, at least for years online, one of the most oft-repeated sentiments among men who were frustrated with their dating lives. There was a resentment towards the attractive people who were just telling them, you know, oh, just go for it, just be yourself. What you're frustrated with there is literally unchecked privilege. That is literally what you are getting angry at right there. Definitionally, it's unchecked privilege. That there are things, elements of society that are benefiting them that they haven't taken into consideration, and it's affecting you. How have we not ever bristled a little bit at hot people privilege? You know? Have you ever had a friend who was just, like, disgustingly hot and got away with shit because of it? Like, they'd be rude to people and it wouldn't even matter because they were super hot? And you look at that interaction and you think, fuck them. I couldn't do that, you know? So if you've experienced that, black people feel that way about white people all the time. Okay, like, about a lot of stuff. When they look in the news or in their interpersonal interactions, they see it happen and it does irritate a lot of them, okay? And how could it not? Now, how do you fix that irritation? It's very simple. Just be aware of it. Like, just don't deny that it's a thing. Because if you have a Chad friend who gets away with stuff because they're hot, and then later they acknowledge that to you, I'm cool. That's fine then. But if I'm like, hey, you only got away with that because you're hot, and they're like, no, that's just because I'm very naturally charismatic and personal, then it's annoying. Do you get it? That's what makes it really irritating. When they're clearly benefiting from some social privilege, but they don't see it, so they act as though it's because of some other inherent benefit they have, you know? That stuff is very frustrating. So when people like Logan Paul, they're like, weaponize your white privilege, they're just asking you to engage in the same basic self-awareness that you would expect of anyone around you. What about class privilege, you know? Imagine if you had a really wealthy friend who would like get the newest shit every time it came out. The newest games, the newest consoles, whatever. And then when you couldn't like play online with him, he'd be like, why? You know? Like he'd get a game that just dropped because he pre-ordered it for like $120 or something. And he's like, yeah, I'm playing it tonight. You want to join me? And you're like, I can't. I don't have the game. And he's like, why? And because he doesn't realize you can't just buy it. I grew up in Beverly Hills. I knew people like this, okay? Trust me. But you know what I mean, right? Isn't that frustrating? If they don't know, if they know, then it's fine. If they know, they can be like, oh yeah, I get it. And like not be weird about it. But if they're unaware of the class difference, it's very aggravating, you know? Anyway.
Believe we're going to a protest today, you can bet your fucking ass I'll be in the front line.
Little LARPy. I mean, mate.
Knowing all this about America, its racially charged background, its inability to truly treat humans as equals, even after 244 years since its inception.
Yeah, there are parts of this I don't like. The scripted nature of this bit is really, really apparent when he does stuff. Even 244 years ago, our founding fathers laid down the principles of the Constitution, but failed to do like stuff like this, you know? What his performativity here seems like it's designed to avoid public backlash more so than it is a reflection of like a sincere moment of awareness. Maybe that's better for normies. When I see stuff like this, it comes off kind of cynical to me. Again, even if this is insincere, if people get the message, I mean, it's good to get the message.
We must now work towards finding the solution. And if you are an influencer or a celebrity friend of mine, I hope you are using your platform to continue to spread the message of solidarity and unity. I do not have all the answers, but I know we must now reverse engineer the system as a collective.
Ah, cool. No, I mean, if it has a good effect, it has a good effect. I feel like those quiet moments of sincerity resonate way better with your audience than these big performative bombastic speeches, though. If Logan Paul like was quiet and he was like, you know, what's been happening lately has really made me think, and then he talked about it for like 5 minutes or something, but he couldn't do that because he couldn't script that. It would have to be conversational. And if he didn't script this, he wouldn't know what to say, because I don't know if he actually understands anything he's talking about here. But hey, you know what? Whatever. I think this was back during the Black Square era. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe being loud is just better for his audience. Who knows? Yeah. Just memorize it next time. Oh, sure. Well, ideally it would be sincere. But anyway, the reason why I went over this is because conservatives were getting mad. Look at all the quote tweets. Imagine if this guy was in charge of rewriting the U.S. Constitution. Yikes. What did he say that was a violation of our constitutional rights? What? Don't want to be this guy, but why is a YouTube influencer lecturing about socio-political conundrums and proposing solutions? This is like, what was the thing they told the black basketball guy? Just shut up and dribble? This is basically it. What are you doing talking? Yeah. Dude, why are influencers using their voice to influence things? Gonna use my privilege to ensure this BS narrative doesn't last. They just get really reflexively angry at this stuff, you know? Like, they just get... Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah. They just get, oh no, it's Christy Winters. Okay, well, I guess every once in a while, even she can get W's. Expropriate and redistribute his personal property according to his own expressed wishes? What? Again, talking with conservatives, you'll be like, maybe we should have less racism. And they'll be like, well, why don't you collectivize the fucking agricultural system while we're at it? You know? Aurelian of Rome, LARP, this guy's a fash 100%. Everyone with a little Roman statue. Why are they so salty? Like I said, they just get angry. A person will be like, I am opposed to racism. And then they'll get really mad. And you'll be like, are you in favor of racism? And they'll be like, no. This is what they do. They just get angry. They're like orcs, you know? From any fantastical canon that has orcs in it, you know? Just angry and dumb.